All right, Dr. King, thank you so much. I think we can all agree that all lives matter. Still, that should not, as you've said, eclipse the fact that there remains a disproportionate amount of abortion in the Black community. Please explain.
Liz, that is so true. And especially since we're in the season of the Martin Luther King holiday and the March for Life and the Walk for Life, the Sanctity of Life, all that happens in January. And so my uncle, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., once said, we must all learn to live together as brothers, and I add as sisters, or perish as fools. Now, with that being the case, we need to recognize that we are the human family, the human race. Acts 17:26 says, of one blood God made all people, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone like Margaret Sanger, who founded Planned Parenthood, to say colored people are like weeds and they need to be exterminated, let's not let the word get out. Let's make them think we're going to help them, but we're going to abort their children. That's basically what she was saying. And so she, under the guise of assistance, founded something that ended up being responsible largely for over 60,000 abortions legally in America since Roe versus Wade was passed. And about 1/3 of those babies, two of mine included, sadly, uh, were aborted. Of course, I repented. God has forgiven me and given me a voice for the family
And
to
a
say,
very strong voice, Dr.
yeah.
King, and a voice that I appreciate. I want to add to what you're saying is you make the remarks that leaders, especially Black leaders, are not addressing this issue.
Well, for too long, Liz, we did not know all the facts. When I learned the facts in 1983, I became a voice for life. And then for the last 10 years, I've been director of African American outreach with Priests for Life. And it has been my mission to educate, activate, to inform the communities, and to have people know that life is sacred and that there are other ways to better your own life than by taking the lives of others. We care about the mothers, the fathers, the babies in the womb, the larger family, and the community.
And
And so we don't have to kill babies to make the world better. As a matter of fact, it won't make the world
and the sanctity of life and the protection of these innocents was the topic of your open letter to President Barack Obama. It was sent ahead of his State of the Union address, and it targeted President Obama's appeal that we have an obligation to do all we can to save even one life. Now, that appeal focused on the hot button issue of gun control. You urged the president and the world to broaden the scope of that appeal.
Yes, he was having a chair next to his wife, First Lady Michelle Obama. President Obama put a chair there in memory and wanting to bring attention to all the victims of gun violence. And he says, if I can save one life, I said, well, President Obama, you could save more lives if you would just defund Planned Parenthood, because we've got 60 million plus dead babies by abortion legally. And so I meant that sincerely, and I asked him to consider and to make room in that chair for the babies
For
who
the
have been
babies.
aborted.
Dr. King, I want to leave with this. This month we celebrate, we pay tribute to your late uncle, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We have immigrants being made to feel that they're unwelcome in this land of the free. We have young men being gunned down in our communities, some at the hands of other young Black men, young ladies making inappropriate videos. Dr. King, what has become of the Reverend's dream?
The dream still lives. It lives in us. And so we have the responsibility to continue to broadcast the good news and the truth. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, Jesus, so that whosoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. My uncle during his lifetime, my daddy, his brother, Reverend A.D. King, proclaimed love for each other.